Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back. And if it's your first time, welcome to the Combat Carnivore, where we are trying to heal the world with steak, strangles, and stoicism, especially combat veterans who are feeling in that trapped place. I know what that feeling is. I was able to get out of it. I suffered for 10 years. It was horrible. It was atrocious. And with studying and experimenting, I found my way out without drugs, without supplements, without magic elixirs. And the specialists and the doctors, the amount of specialists and doctors that I went to in those 10 years who couldn't help me, heal me, give me any good answers, just put me on drugs. I want to avoid that cycle for anybody, and that's what the Combat Carnivore is all about. So if you are struggling mentally, physically, chronically, please give this channel a like and subscribe. I'm so excited to get this message out there. Today's video is talking about why we are getting stuck in this trap and why I suffered for so long, and it took me a decade to dig through the mountains of garbage to find the rich soil at the bottom. And the internet is filled with so much contradicting information. Let me go ahead and lower that. But the internet is filled with so much contradicting information, especially with this AI overview. And AI, I think, is going to be the death of us. But regardless, it's like even if you didn't have AI, AI is a representation of most of the information out there, and it pretends like there's some sort of consensus and then gives you advice based off thousands and thousands of articles and studies of false narratives, corrupt systems. Science is bought and paid for. And what I mean by that is science used to be the ultimate authority. It's like science showed this and now we have an objective answer. But now most of the people who are providing studies in the nutritional field either belong to a religious cult or they used to belong to the cigarette companies, and their goal is to make you either addicted as possible, make as much money as possible, or to push their plant-based radical religious views towards you. And we don't even realize it because most of us don't go past the surface layer. And it took me 10 years of suffering and digging through to finally get on an appropriate diet and finding the right answers for things. And what saved my life, right, are the three pillars of steak, strangles, and stoicism, which are carnivore, Jiu Jitsu, and practical life philosophies like stoicism. And that's what basically the community is about, getting people back on track, especially people who are suffering chronically with physical ailments, mentally with mental disorders that are holding them back from living their optimal life, especially those of veterans. And I'm going to explain to you, a lot of you guys, you want to take autonomy over your own health, and I get that. You want to do these things, but this is the information right here that you're being fed, and it's horseshit. So I'm already off in the woods, but what is a healthy diet? So I asked Google. A healthy diet includes a variety of foods that provide essential factors for a balanced diet. All right, so it gets away with, but it doesn't say it is in the essential factor. But the very first thing is carbs. Carbs. That's the very first thing they put on there. Right? There is no such thing as an essential carb. Exogenous carbs, your body has this thing called gluconeogenesis that can make its own carbs in exactly as much as it needs by taking in a proper human diet, right, with protein and fat. Your body wants to run off of fat. It's going to use carbs when it has it, but then your body goes into a state of inflammation and dealing with excess glucose in the blood, which is toxic for your body. And so the fact that in here carbs is the number one thing is atrocious, right? Protein's good, obviously. But what's interesting is, like, I try to make my diet 70 to 80% fat and 20 to 30% protein, right? Which is pretty much just eating like a ribeye steak or some ground beef or whatever, which is what I believe you're supposed to eat in bone marrow and so on. So, yes, protein is vital. It is essential. Okay? However, it's even, they put it before fat. So we all tend to agree, even like vegans who work out and stuff, it's like, I got this much protein, so on. So we understand that protein is the case, but fat is really what we are adapted to process. I know that it doesn't make sense, but like herbivores, cows that are eating grass, goats that are eating grass, even, for example, gorillas, even though that they are consuming like a high protein diet, they are not actually absorbing any fiber, right? They're getting they eat fat, or I shouldn't say they eat fat, they consume fat, all right? And this is going to be a little thing with the fiber right here. Our body does not need fiber. It is not essential. I haven't had fiber in over a year, and my gut, I had nonstop gut problems, acute like flu symptoms that were they were atrocious. They were detrimental. Like it was crippling. I was almost like handicapped with how bad it was. I have gotten rid of fiber now in the past year, and almost immediately those digestive symptoms went away. Actually, let's jump to this study right here. All right, and I'm just pulling up the pretty, you can look into this, you can dive into the study, but I just want to give you the aesthetics because I don't have the time. But this is the effect of reducing dietary fiber. This is one of the only like intrusive studies, when I say intrusive, interventional studies, where it wasn't just asking people like what they ate and they're like succumbing to healthy user bias. These are people who had their diet influenced, right? They had their diets changed and they were studied. One of the only actual studies done on fiber. So, baseline diet. So these people were suffering from constipation, strain opening, bloating, anal bleeding, pain. So just overall pain, just living, 20% of people just in pain. What's very interesting, so 100% of these people who were doing the study had constipation and strain opening. Now, if you increase the fiber, which is, by the way, I went to a gastrologist, yes, and, unfortunately they stuck the thing up there, they stuck the thing down there, took pictures and so on, and he noticed inflammatory responses when he took samples, so on and so forth. And his recommendation was to increase fiber. Okay? Now look at here, high fiber diet. So what they did is they did a regular diet, then they increased the fiber, and the symptoms increased. Okay. So, high fiber diet, okay? A lot of people say quality of fiber. Okay, well, quality of fiber is very important. But look at this. If we did a reduced fiber diet, we went from 100% of the people who were in the study, right, experiencing these symptoms, right here at least, and then they decreased. But what's even more interesting is the people, or rather are the people, who are on a zero fiber diet. They completely took fiber out of the equation. And by the way, we'll get into this here in a bit. They no longer have any symptoms, or at least they don't have constipation. So 100% of people went from being constipated to zero. 100% of people went from strain opening to zero. Over half of them went from bloating to not bloating. This is almost 50% of the people who had anal bleeding, okay, no longer have it. It fixed. It went away. And the 20% of people who just had pain, just reported pain, which, by the way, I think all of this includes pain, but they went from 20% to zero. Zero. Fiber in your diet is not essential. Period. Okay? You can ask many people on carnivore what happened to their digestive system and their, let's say, ailments, or rather, people, let's say they didn't have ailments. Ask them if they currently have ailments, digestive issues. Ask them. I bet you won't find any. I bet you won't. You could ask these guys. They certainly don't. So we go back. Fiber. What's also very interesting is they add in here vitamins, minerals. It's very interesting that they add that, because turns out you get all the vitamins and minerals that you need from protein and fat. if you eat the right protein and fat, right? If you were to eat cow, for example, beef, and the right cuts of it, and that's all you ate for the rest of your life, you will get all the essential vitamins, nutrients, minerals that you need in the proper proportions. That's fascinating. Because in here, if you were to eat a high fiber and high carb diet, then you're definitely going to need supplemental vitamins and minerals that you're putting in your body, which your body won't absorb very well because it's isolated, and your body doesn't do very well with taking powdered form or isolated forms or artificial forms of vitamins and minerals that you take androgynously and without the complement of the other natural vitamins and minerals that they're supposed to couple with. For example, a lot of the nutrients that we get in animal foods, they complement each other and they require one another in order to function properly in the body. So let's continue to move on. Fruits and vegetables, which are high in fiber, which in my opinion we know, but as we've seen in this example, cause problems. Carbs, right? So we get sugars. We basically just raise the blood glucose level, right, androgynously. And then we get vegetables, fiber, and whole grains, right? And healthy fats isn't until way down here. And look at when we do healthy fats, it's like olive oil and avocado. So 2 plant-based things. Wow. And limit saturated fats and trans oil. So people are trying to get healthy. They're trying to get healthy. And then they say drink water, which of course we want you to drink water, but of course tap water is almost virtually poison at this point. But you can get into your own conspiracy theories with that. I'm not well enough educated. I know I'm just listening to the people who I trust at this point, and I don't think certain things that they're putting in our water should be in our water at all, and I do think it has a negative effect. So, anywho, you can also try eating dark green vegetables at least 3 to 4 times a week. And bean-based meal, oh my goodness, just the things that are the worst for you. They're, advertising. Oh, and then look at this. Protein. Include proteins like fish, chicken, turkey, right? Eggs are good. But then beans. And it says include lean proteins. No, you want fat. Your body is designed to eat fat. Okay, and we were about to get into that. Cows, goats, right? Gorillas. They do not absorb fiber and carbs. They don't absorb those things. Most of what they actually absorb are saturated fatty acids and protein. When they have digestives, they have mechanisms that exist within their bodies that when they eat fiber, like grass or vegetables or whatever, or when I'm thinking like gorillas, like those fruits and whatever they eat, leaves. When they eat those things, it starts going through these processes, right? Cows have like chambered stomachs, and they go through multiple different stomachs, filtering out toxins because what they're eating is toxic, so they need to filter it out. And they've gone through millions of years of evolution developing this. And then what ends up being a symbiotic relationship with bacterial colonies that, as a byproduct of those things eating the grass within the stomach, and they produce, right, by fermenting this content that's inside the stomach, the tract of the cow, as a byproduct, saturated fatty acids are what's produced. And that's what the cow eats, right? Very, very high percentages of saturated fatty acids. And then what's interesting is the colony dies, and then the cow consumes the protein from the dead bacteria. And so they're actually consuming healthy fat, saturated fat, and protein. Gorillas are the same way. Gorillas have a 4-foot-long cecum. We do not have a cecum. If you don't know what a cecum is, there's a place in the intestines, a little cap, where food sits and ferments. Same thing, ferments into bacterial colonies, to which they absorb the saturated fats and the proteins. I hear this fallacy a lot because it's like gorillas are strong as fuck, right? And they're like a vegetarian meal. By the way, you should watch a monkey when they have the opportunity to eat meat. They go bananas. I just had to say that, but they go crazy, right? I watched Chimp Empire, and that's one of the first times I saw it. Like when they see other smaller monkeys, these chimps watch smaller monkeys like start to move. They stop, they turn into a completely different animal, and they start chasing these monkeys down. And then they eat the brains right off the bat of these monkeys, and they rip apart the flesh, but they prefer flesh. They go crazy to eat. They go crazy to eat other animals because the immediate protein and nutrients and fat that they get within that is so rich and so much easier to digest. You have to have special mechanisms within your body to be able to digest fiber. As a matter of fact, no one really digests fiber in the sense of the word because no one absorbs it. They just push it through. And since your body can't absorb fiber, it just pushes it right through. And that used to be the argument for fiber. And it's like if we fill them, they knew that fiber wasn't absorbed. And so your body has to push this out. So they say like, oh, it's going to help move bowels through, right? Like it's going to help, move your bowel movements through the system quicker. And so if we fill you up with fiber, right, you'll be able to eat, you won't be able to eat as much garbage food, and then you'll be healthier. That was the original argument. They understood that you literally couldn't absorb it. So the fact that we're sitting here now, we still have to make this argument against this almost like consensus-based AI overview that is telling you that, look, eat at least 5 portions, a variety of fruits and vegetables per day. Immediately, that's the number one thing. The number one thing is carbs and then fruits and vegetables. Are you kidding me? Those things are going to damage you right off the bat. And then before we even get to protein and healthy fats, right, we have to go through whole grains, right, which are seeds. In essence, it's all the next generation, like seeds, nuts, whatever. They're all the next generation of plants, which means that they have some of the heaviest defense chemicals in them, right? And then we finally get to protein. And when you get to protein, it says lean. God. And then we get... and by the way, God, let's go ahead and talk about it in here. Beans, nuts, tofu. Get out of here. And then we finally get to healthy fats, and they don't even say a single saturated fat. They don't even say a single animal product. They say healthy fats like olive oil and avocados. Oh my God, this is insane. At least they get to dairy, which, by the way, dairy is better than a lot of this other crap in here. However, like, I have gotten rid of dairy. I started off carnivore with dairy, and there's a lot of argument. But at least dairy is an animal product, and it's going to get you the right proteins right out. It's like easily absorbable, right? And it's for a newborn. But I don't believe that mammals that are in adulthood, or at least past toddler stage, need that anymore. There's a reason why we transition out of it. And I noticed when I took my kids off raw dairy that even though they went better from going to pasteurized dairy to raw dairy, by getting rid of dairy overall, they saw massive health improvements. So, but at least dairy is an animal product. But what sucks in here is they say low fat. Dairy alternatives like soy do not even, I have to do a whole nother video on soy, but soy almost killed me. Do not put it in your body. Soy is, like, to me, next to something like the devil, right? Between its phytoestrogens and its defense chemicals, I can't even get started right now. It's going to be ugly. Let's move on, all right? So this is what is garbage, is what is a healthy diet? So you, as somebody who's trying to be well-informed, you go to the almighty Google, and this is the horseshit. This is when it goes and it looks through all the information out there. This is the consensus that comes up and provides with authority. It says this like it's been established. And let's be very clear with this. This is not established. It's established amongst certain communities, but it is certainly not objective truth because science is bought and paid for, especially in the joke that they call the nutritional sciences. Go look up the history of nutritional sciences and you're going to find something very ugly. I am going to do a video on the atrocities of what they call nutritional science. And I don't think they're going to like that, and the Seventh-day Adventists and the cult that backs it. And the other people like the food companies and the sugar companies like Coca-Cola, who are putting out massive amounts of research that are demonizing animal products. And somehow this concentrated sugar and chemicals that we're adding into our body are somehow the healthier thing. So anyway, this is what's garbage. You're trying to do your best to do the research to get better, and this is what you get. And what sucks about this one is this is what leads you down like the vegetarian and the vegan routes. Oh my God. And you just get trapped. Oh, this is me just talking. There is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. And a lot of people back that up. Have been a number of communities that we've been able to measure that never had a carb in their tribe, in their community, in their society. And they got along just fine. And so if it was essential, that means that we wouldn't be able to produce generations of people within this community. And when I say we, those people wouldn't be able to continue their lineage, their procreation, if they were lacking an essential nutrient. However, by eating nothing but fatty animals, they had incredible health, impeccable health, and especially for the regions that they were in and the kind of like the hard life, the hard knocks life that they were living, they had great mental health, right? Incredible mental health. So if we start talking about grains, these grains are essential. Modern vegetables and fruits are a modern phenomenon. They did not exist. They were not something that you would find naturally lying around. This, at the top of the screen, is what corn used to look like. We, humans, human intervention has turned it into this. And do you think our ancient ancestors were able to like start boiling and cooking and dealing with the toxins that were in plants? Do you think they had that ability, over 11,000 years ago? No. Our ancestors from 11,000 to 350,000 years ago, up to 2 million years ago, ate meat. They did not eat this garbage. Let me say that again. They did not eat this garbage. It wasn't until the agricultural revolution that they start putting this into their bodies. And a lot of negative things started happening amongst society when it comes to health when that started happening. Oh, and this, God, this is what a banana, right? It's like, it's naturally producing. And no, it's not. This is what a banana used to look like. And you better not eat those seeds. It's going to make you very, very sick. So the amount of fiber in here, right? One, it tasted bitter, but you weren't feeding societies off of this. You weren't feeding communities off of this. This is something that you may have eaten if a hunt hadn't gone successful for like weeks on end. Your body can go a lot further than you think without food, especially when you're fat adapted, right? And so they weren't putting this garbage into their body. Most of the food that you eat are not naturally occurring, okay? Most of this food it's frankenfood. It's been genetically modified over thousands of years to become this. It's not naturally occurring. Your body is not meant to be putting all that fiber and all that anti-nutrients into your body. Look at your vegetables. Vegetables, they have this like if you were to go to the beginning and you say like, what is a healthy diet? Look at the images, right? Vegetables and fruit, vegetables and fruit, vegetables and fruit, right? Look at this guy. This is this lady. This is all of us, right? Look at this. When you type this in, I don't even see a single, look at freaking tofu in this one. I don't see a single like animal product in this one. They have somehow brainwashed us that like these vegetables and fruit are the healthiest thing in the diet. And you're sitting here trying to heal yourself, right? And it's all this frankenfood from this one plant. It's not naturally occurring. This is not what we're supposed to be putting in our body. As a matter of fact, if you were walking and you were starving on a path and you saw this plant right here, I would almost guarantee that that would be one of the last things you would want to put in your body, because your body would know, right, that you can't just eat random foods, right? They have monsterized it. It's genetically mutated variations of this plant. That is supposed to be fruits and vegetables, something that's only been around for a few thousand years. Are you kidding? When we have millions of years of evolution making us who we are, right? It's not like we get to decide. We are formed, we are forged by our environment. Our bodies become what they are depending on what we're eating, what we're putting in our body, and the external environment that's impacting us. Period. We don't get to decide what's healthiest for us. Our ancestors surviving for millions of years dictated what's healthy for us. And the past few thousand years does not get to change that DNA. Our DNA is writ with millions of years of our ancestors, which is an immensely larger number than a few thousand years. Immensely larger number of generations surviving off animal foods. Oh yeah, and this is the other thing. You go ask, is fiber healthy? Right? Fiber, which we haven't consumed in millions of years on a grand scale, it hasn't been a staple in our diet. Yes, fiber is healthy and can help with digestion, cholesterol, and overall health. Fiber can keep your gut healthy. There's this guy online called Kent Carnivore, that because following advice like this, he lost his colon. I strongly suggest to go check him out. It tells you to eat bees, lentils, broccoli, berries, avocados, popcorn, whole grains, apples, and dried fruits. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes, dietary fiber can affect nutrient absorption in a number of ways. Right? So it's weird because it admits this. Fiber takes away, right, from your ability to absorb nutrients, which is probably why it's telling you it's healthy, because it can lower certain things in your body. So like if you're eating a bunch of crap food, like processed food and sugar, then fiber might be good for you because it's helping your body absorb, or it's helping your body with the absorption of garbage, because there's more matter that's pulling away from it actually going into your body and being absorbed and pulled into your body cells, right? And so, yeah. But what makes me mad about this one is it can help with cholesterol. That drives me crazy a little bit because cholesterol is healthy. So then I looked up, you need cholesterol basically for good health. So it knows. It knows that cholesterol is good, but it's always telling you to lower your cholesterol. That's like the main thing. And what's very interesting about that is, as we get here, testosterone is derived from cholesterol. Yes, testosterone is made from cholesterol. Okay? Like, a lot of people are suffering from low testosterone, but at the same time, you're given medication to lower their cholesterol. They're always being told not to consume cholesterol because cholesterol is bad and it'll lead to heart disease, which has been debunked over and over. But your body needs cholesterol to make the proper hormones that it needs to run your body. Okay? Without cholesterol, the hormones in your body are out of whack and out of balance. For men, right? Testosterone being one of the most important ones. So if you want to increase your testosterone, or rather, if you want to prevent your testosterone from increasing, then go ahead and avoid cholesterol. And what's even more concerning about this is estrogen in women comes from cholesterol and testosterone. Yes, estrogen in women comes from cholesterol and testosterone. What happens is, in women, when they get this cholesterol, they get these hormones, but the testosterone is quickly converted into estrogen. And when you're, and I don't want to get into it right now, but what ends up happening is your body, when it's not getting enough cholesterol and it's getting a bunch of things that it prevents from natural processes happening, what sucks is it stops women from being able to transition that testosterone into estrogen, and so they become out of whack. And so we end up in this process where men don't have enough testosterone and women are getting too much testosterone, so women are becoming more masculine and men are becoming more feminine. It's insane to me. And a lot of it is from the fact that everyone is pushing for like this low fat diet. We saw it. What is a healthy diet? Right? They say lean proteins, healthy fats like olive oil and avocados. Get the out of here with that garbage. Okay? It's garbage. And here's just a quick thing. I'm not going to get into it because I'm not an expert on it, but I love this. I love it when experts talk about this. But these are the total cholesterol versus mortality in 164 countries. Okay? So, for example, cholesterol in a range of 200 and 240, okay, between that range of 200 and 240 is the lowest cause of mortality, the correlation. Okay, so let's ask, what is a healthy cholesterol? Less than 200 is normal. 200 to 239 is borderline high. And 240 is higher, or 240 or higher is too high, right? Or is high. So let's go back to this. They're telling you anything below 200 is healthy. Yet, overall cause in death correlates with unhealthy. And they're telling you to stay out of this range, like this range is dangerous from 200 to 240. Yet, this is where we see the overall lowest mortality. So when people die, regardless of what it is, they check their cholesterol, right? And that makes sense. Being in a healthy level of cholesterol, where giving your body all the utilities it needs, right? All the resources it needs to run its hormones correctly, right? Not starving it of the hormones and the nutrients in order to produce those hormones. All of a sudden, the overall cause of mortality goes down. But this isn't what we're told. And even look at this with cardiovascular disease. Right? We're seeing like a low, like 210. And if we were to go lower than 200, we see cardiovascular disease, people dying from it, increase. Interesting how much contradiction, right? And then when I look over here, we're talking, I was going to get into this big thing about seed oils. Seed oils just causing inflammation. Are seed oils unhealthy? Yes and no, but mostly yes, right? So we know seed oils are bad, and I was going to get into that. I remember why I was going to get into that, because when we start getting into here, healthy fats for cooking. So when we go back to what is healthy, right? Healthy fats. And then in that article that we just saw that shows that these vegetable oils and these seed oils are inflammatory. So we know this. Healthy fats for cooking. 1, 2, 3. 3. Out of all of these, it only mentioned 3 animal products. The rest are frickin' seed oils, vegetable oils, fruit, a couple fruits, but things that will cause inflammation, right? And we don't even see like butter until like number 3. Vegetable oil literally is right after butter. Healthy fats for cooking. So people are trying to do the right thing, but being fed all sorts of misinformation from every direction. If you look at this, the base of the pyramid, the food pyramid, we see grains, cereal, crackers. Are you kidding? And then we see all the frankenfood, right? And then not until we get up here do we even see any meat, right? They want you to have 6 to 11 servings of grains as compared to 2 to 3 of dairy, of meat, of any animal product, right? And then fat and oils used sparingly. Are you kidding me? Even cows who eat grass get most of their nutrients from fat and protein. Yet it's not even considered essential here. I shouldn't say essential. It's not considered the base of the pyramid. It's considered use it sparingly. Are you kidding me? And then when they go to look up, okay, what's a healthy fat? They get seed oils, vegetable oils, garbage. Even though it very clearly states that it's inflammatory. So then I was going to get into an argument, but I'll just kind of bypass this. As I wanted to give some evidence, and there's so much evidence of how we know our ancestors. So Chad, how do we know, combat carnivore, how do we know that our ancestors ate this diet? Frickin' slam dunk right here. Stable isotope analysis, particularly of carbon and nitrogen isotopes in bone collagen, provides strong evidence that early humans, including Neanderthals, were primarily carnivorous. It is insane to me that it knows this. It knows this. It's in the same thing. It shows that our ancestors ate mostly meat, and then just completely contradicts itself. And so, unless you know how to ask the right questions for the people who are just saying, what is a healthy diet? It's just going to give you a whole heap of bullshit. So even if you're trying to take autonomy over your own health, you have to go through so much BS and experimenting and injuring yourself in order to get to the right place. And this is just some more backing up that herbivores primarily consume plant material, which is typically low in readily available protein and fat. They do indeed absorb both fatty acids and protein through a complex process, right, digestive process, particularly with the help of gut microbes, right, microbial fermentation, right. So they get these fatty acids, short chain fatty acids, right, that they use for their energy. We don't have those digestive systems, right? We are like lions. When we look up human stomach acid pH, between a 1.5 and a 3.5. 1.5 stomach acidity. That is on par with like lions. Okay? We didn't get that stomach acidity by being mostly omnivorous in the sense that like we had a balanced diet. No, we ate mostly meat for millions of years, and that is why we are who we are. That is why our DNA and our biology are the way they are, and it's the reason we cannot digest plants. Plants have defense chemicals, and we do not have the mechanisms to filter that out. We rely on fat and protein. And then I asked, plants have defense chemicals, right? Yes, plants have chemicals. Plants have chemical defenses to protect themselves from herbivores and pathogens. So it wants to protect itself from us. And the only animals that can eat those plants are the ones who develop those mechanisms in order to get rid of these toxins. And then a lot of people will say, well, there's a lot of good like omega-3s and good fats in plants, and that's not the case either. So earlier when I was talking about the fats, the only omega-3 really that are in plants, are most prominent in plants, is ALA. And our body, and ALA is actually like not very easily converted from EPA and DHA when you eat plants. However, your brain requires large amounts of EPA and DHA, which your body does not get from plants. This comes from animal fats, period. The other fats that you get from plants are mostly omega-6, and it's always this omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and you want it to be as low as possible. You want as much omega-3 as you can get and lower omega-6. Omega-6 has its place, but if too much, it's inflammatory. And that's what plants provide, is way too high in that ratio of omega-6. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, out of all the information out there, out of all the BS, out of all the garbage, right, you're going to try to look up, hey, I want to be healthy. Chad, how do I become more healthy? Google, how do I become more healthy? And you're going to type that in. What is a healthy diet? Because you're trying to get healthy. And you're going to be fed a mountain of bullshit. And it's not fair to you. Especially if you're struggling with mental and physical health, it's going to keep you going down the wrong path. What I do like about it is it does talk about getting rid of processed foods a lot of the time, but we just saw a bunch of processed foods like seed oils within there, and it also talks about to like limit the amount of excess sugar. But you go to the grocery store, sugar is in everything, and in fruits there's a ton of sugar in fruits that's on this list. So we have to be able to learn enough and to be able to critically think, and to get past a lot of the BS, which is very hard. So I understand that you're trying to take autonomy over your own health, but it's getting very, very difficult. In the wave of this is the way people get information, and to find the correct information, it makes things even more difficult because it makes it more confusing, which is why I have our online community. This is why I have the combat carnivore community. It's because I'm going to try to educate people. This is why I have this combat carnivore YouTube channel. It's because I'm trying to create as much of a message in the correct direction to help. So this is me kind of waging a war almost against these horrific narratives of what is healthy and what is considered like nutritional science. It's garbage. So that being said, I am trying, I gotta wrap this up, but I'm trying to save the world with steak, strangles, and stoicism. I am trying to get as many people onto the proper human diet, get them doing healthy exercise, and I'm trying to get them to develop a practical life philosophy that's going to help them with the critical thinking that leads to this garbage. Anyway, I gotta go. So thank you so much, guys. Please like and subscribe. And all that being said, I love you. Don't do drugs and don't eat vegetables. I'll see you next time.